very good Tuesday morning to you from what is a glorious, glorious sunny Manchester this fine morning, and I hope I find you very well indeed. I hope you had a good weekend, quite a busy weekend for me, hence why I've not been making any of these. What I want to talk about today is the politics of fear. And it's something we all seem to be kind of sucked into on a fairly regular basis here. And when I say here, I don't mean just in Britain, I mean kind of in the Western world kind of thing. And I want to raise the question, and which I kind of hope you're going to answer, which is why? Why we are sucked in to the politics of fear. What do I mean by the politics of fear? Well, the prime thing at the moment here in the UK, of course, is the Brexit, what's called the Brexit, which is the British exit from the European Union. Now, the politics of fear came into play regarding the Brexit a while back when I did my video regarding the EU exit vote, which was about a month or so ago now. When the government used, I think it was something like £9 million to publish this, which, as you can see, it says the government believes that voting to remain in the European Union is the best decision for the UK. And in there, it gives us all the different things that we, the British government, or the British people governed by the UK Parliament, are going to benefit by staying in this little club, in fact, the club that's getting exceedingly big now, the European Union. So in here were the first of the scare tactics that came along. Closely following in the wake of this, of course, we then had multitudes of people saying that should we leave, of course, the security of the European Union would be at risk by ex-leaders of MI5 and indeed MI6 and certain high figures in police forces around Britain. But to counter that, of course, we had current heads of security services and current heads of police forces who said completely the opposite. We have recently had for David Cameron, the Prime Minister here in Britain, basically saying that if we leave, we are risking war in continental Europe, which has taken us back to the heady days of 1939 to 1945, of course, which is complete and utter nonsense, just because should it be the case that one country, yes, okay, one of the leading countries in Britain, as it were, as a continent, leave, it will not destabilise what is a very stable continent. That's what came out of World War II. If anything good came out of World War II, it was things like NATO, of course, and the pact between all those nations that we would never make the same mistake again. And for us to make the same mistake again would make it would have to be a set of circumstances that were so massively different from the status quo that would push us towards the brink of war, and we, the British people, voting to take us out of the EU will not take us to that brink. So that is kind of the latest thing here in Britain that we're experiencing, the politics of fear, where our trusted members of Parliament put forward their views to make us frightened, worried, concerned about how things will be if we do a certain amount of things which will take us in a particular direction. Now, in my view, doing that kind of thing curtails our free will, curtails our free voting system, and is trying to steer us in a way of a dictatorial manner of government in Britain, if we didn't believe that existed already. As I've said many, many times previously, anybody who believes that we live in a democracy is a complete and utter fool, and the only time that we ever near the state of a democratic society is one day every 5 years when we have the right of a general election. Now we see the politics of fear all around the world. Of course we do. I mean, in America at the moment, of course, you've got the same push of people, politicians from both sides of the political divide, all worried about terrorism, the terrorist threat to the Western world, and certainly America following the hype around 9/11. You've got Donald Trump running for the president-elect, where he's putting forward all the threats that there will be no more inward transit of the Muslim faith people into the United States because of the fear of terrorism. And I think this is the thing that what politicians are trying to do worldwide, which is to gain some form of extra control, an extra measure, an extra degree of control over we, the electorate, the normal people of the different countries around the world, by making us fearful of different sets of circumstances which either our politicians themselves have created, or whether we see are coming because the demand has been there for that to arise, i.e. the vote for us to either leave or stay in the European Union. And they are trying very, very hard to frighten us to the extent that if we make, in their eyes, the wrong decision, we are putting ourselves in many, many forms of danger that we can possibly envisage, which will take us either into war or economic decline or whatever it may be. So the question is, the politics of fear. As I look at it from a kind of an outside point of view, because as you know, I don't particularly get involved in this political game, this voting, these laughable elections where they try to convince us that we, the populace of either this side of the Atlantic or the other side of the Atlantic, have some form of control over what is actually done in the name of us. And all the options that are put forward out there, everything that is paid for, which we may or may not agree with, of course, is paid for out of our taxes, out of our pockets, the money that we put into the pot during our working lives. So surely we should have a little bit more say into what actually happens in the countries in which we live. But the politics of fear these days seems to be more prominent than ever before. Now, looking at it from my point of view, of course, you could quite easily fall down the ever-increasing well that is conspiracy theories, saying that they are creating the fear that only then they later can give the solution to. But to that solution, of course, we will have to surrender all our freedoms for them to allow them to resolve the problems. But I'm not going to go down that route. I'm going to ask you the straightforward question, which is, do you agree that politicians play the fear game all the time now? Do you feel that the fear game is necessary? So, you know, is the possibility that we here in Britain, and anybody can answer this, of course, if you have an interest in international politics and you live in Australia, America or Canada, or wherever you're watching this, do you feel that we as Britain leaving the EU is going to destabilise the EU so much that we're going to be thrown back to 1939 and thrown back into some form of war-torn continent? Do you think that's the case? In America, do you feel that the problems are so great with the influx of Mexicans across the border into America? Is that causing so many problems? Are the influx of people of the Islamic faith going into America, is Donald Trump correct to put a block on that? Because obviously everybody who has a faith in the Islamic world are a terrorist. Of course they are, and you know, and I do, that they're not. It's just radical people. But Donald Trump is trading on that. And it seems to me that a lot of what he's saying is being heard in a very positive light. So what does that say not only about him, but also about the people who are being impressed by him and are looking to support him in the up and coming election. So what does that say? So the politics of fear is, I think it has a very bad reflection on us as human beings. As you're aware, I mean, I'm a great believer in the alternate theory world. I don't believe every conspiracy stroke alternate theory there is out there, but I do think that they have some credence in this world. And I do believe that the majority of the people in the world are what they call, or what we know as sheeple, whether they just point us in a direction and we go trolling along quite merrily, being pushed along by the sheepdog that is the politicians in all our countries, being told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it quite merrily, and we are unable to make decisions of ourselves and by ourselves. So the politics of fear is pushing us, I think, unfortunately, into a corner where we are going to have very little say in how we get out of that corner. And I'm seeing it being brought to bear with a great measure of force on we, the British people, right now. I'm not going to go into my views on the EU. If you want to see my views on the EU, have a look in the back catalogue. It's about a month or so ago. I did a video regarding the European Union and my views on what effect that is actually having on us here. So have a look at that. I'm quite worried that our representatives, the people who we trust to run our everyday lives, not only here in Britain, but in Australia and Canada and America and all other what we laughingly call free societies, are pushing us in a direction that is not particularly good for us, the normal people, and they are using fear to do that. And I think that we are demonstrating as human beings that en masse what we are a bunch of scared animals who can be panicked into a set of circumstances which in the short to medium term is not going to be to our benefit. So the politics of fear, what have you seen in your country where the people you trust or not are creating a scenario of a worrying situation to enable them to get their own way, or to stop you, the voter, from doing something that they're worried about you doing? Let me know. Is there something going on other than what I've mentioned? Is there anything actually physically going on in Australia right now that you're really concerned about? Is there anything going on in Canada right now? Andy, let me know if there's anything that you're particularly worried about in Canada. Obviously, you can see the coin from both sides, obviously, of North America. You know, you've moved to Canada from America itself. Let me know how you view the situation in the two countries. Tell me what it's about there, what might be happening that's worrying the electorate. I think the key concern for me here is that we are demonstrating ourselves to be cowards, as it were. The politicians are putting forward a set of circumstances which they see can worry us, can concern us, and once they see that we are being a little bit insecure in our thought processes, they can push us into whatever direction they wish. The politics of fear, something I see spreading around the Western world, not healthy at all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. As always, questions, queries, suggestions, answers to this one down below as always. Suggestions for this kind of nonsense down below as always. Thank you very much to my couple of new subscribers that we've had over the last couple of days. I think I've got back to you all. I did know I've lost a couple as well, so hopefully it'll balance out along the way. I will do right at the end of the video something that I know people do right at the beginning of the video, but a new trend, let's put it at the end. Watch check. We're wearing the Hulk today. There it is. Yes, indeed. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. So that's it for this one, people. Let me know your thoughts on this, the politics of fear, and whether you feel it is being spread around the world by the people who ask for our trust. So that's it for now, people. I shall speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.